to Love is on the Air, episode 7, lucky 7, hey! Filmed here in the amazing Thurning Hall Wedding Venue. If you do get the opportunity to come and see this place, please do, because it is absolutely stunning. We've got Lara on the next episode talking about this place, so please tune in next time to make sure that you can hear all about the stunning wedding venue. However, today we have our very first wedding planner extraordinaire, who we will find out how she can make planning your wedding an absolute dream. But before that, just a little info into what this video and podcast is all about. So this is a video podcast specific to wedding suppliers and the kindness in the industry. It's so important to wedding suppliers to form alliances and trusts within the industry to be able to support each other. So this conversation is created so couples can get a feel for what their wedding suppliers do and how they do it. And as the series goes on, there'll be a database of episodes that can help couples searching for suppliers into this wonderful world of the wedding suppliers. So to keep updated with the videos and the podcast, just follow, subscribe, depending on what you're listening to or watching this on. However, as I mentioned before, today's guest is not just a wedding planner. She is a Marquess of the Marquee, a wizard at wedding planning. Her magic has been seen by all who have had the pleasure of working with her. Please give it up for the amazing Emily Andre! Woo!
Wow, I need you to do that every day. That's amazing. Woo!
Is that right? Is that Marquess?
Oh, don't care. Go with it. Whatever. Fine.
The Magical Marchess of Marquees.
I love it.
Oh, I wouldn't say that after a gin.
No, don't. That could go all sorts of wrong.
As anything I do will.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
Just wing it, it's fine.
Yeah, agree.
So Emily, how are you?
I'm really good, how are you?
Amazing, thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us here on Love is on the Air.
I love it. And a lot from my point of view is about brilliant suppliers. And I always say I only work with nice people. So yes, being able to have that network, and this is obviously all part of that too.
Exactly that, yes, indeed, definitely. Now, I can't even remember the first time that we met. I think it was like a wedding supplier meetup, it was like a breakfast or something. Possibly. And then we just started chatting, and then we started doing a few style shoots and things like that. It was just working with each other. And then I was lucky enough to do second shooting with
Georgia.
Georgia,
yes, that's right.
Who's on later on
the series. That was a cold day. That was a January wedding, wasn't it?
Oh,
that was
goodness.
bitter.
But that was at Holcombe Hall. It was
Beautiful.
my first experience of working at Holcombe Hall as well.
Was
so
it?
It's so wonderful to be, even just a little part of it was so lovely, and they were such a lovely couple as well.
They were a lovely
weren't
couple.
they?
I'm still in touch with them. And the lovely thing about them was I actually planned their engagement. So that was a surprise.
Goodness.
So the groom-to-be contacted me and said, I want to propose, help.
Yeah.
So I did this whole behind-the-scenes proposal planning for him, and then obviously we just hit it off. And then they came to me a little bit later on after they'd booked lots of bits and pieces and said, oh, we really need some help with on the day, just to make sure everything went how they wanted it to, and that the plans all came together how they envisaged.
And also we worked together at Seckford Hall, didn't we?
We did,
for
last summer.
Last summer, yes, for Annalise and Adam.
That was a good one.
I must just say, because of all the work that you put into that, and Charlotte Starr for their flowers and everything like that, it's just like, and you had one of your lovely people, assistants as well, to help you on the day, just to make sure everything ran. The praise that you got, as personal to you, your praise that you got from Adam when he stood up and did his speech, it was just so lovely to hear that because of you, their wedding day was exactly how they wanted it, because of all the hard work that you put into it. And it's like, that must feel so nice to be able to hear that.
It's so lovely, it's so lovely. And they were a full planning couple, so I'd been with them all the way through. So we had put together and hand-picked the supplier team. So that was really lovely. And obviously we knew for them, you were the right photographer for them, and they had a Harry Potter theme, didn't they? So you brought some creativity into the photography for them as well. And and I just love that. That's such a big part of my job is making sure that they get what they want, but not just what they want, that it's better than what they want. And people watching, this is the first time, hopefully only time you're going to do this, so you don't know what you don't know, and that's always the hard thing. You don't know what questions you need to ask, you don't know what those pitfalls might be. You can read hundreds of millions of blogs, but there'll always be little bits of information that slip through that net. So obviously calling on people like us that know and have done it millions of times before, it's puts all those jigsaw pieces into place.
I think just touching on what you said earlier as well about the fact that you can help handpick the suppliers, because you're not paid by the suppliers. You're
No.
not taking a backhander or anything like that. You want the best for that couple.
100%.
And I've always said this to my couples as well. It's like, I might not be the photographer for you, but I can recommend somebody that is with a particular style that you're looking for. So if somebody wants a more of a traditional type of photography, that I know that probably won't be me, but I do know photographers that will do that. Whereas if you want batshit crazy, fun,
Tick.
it's like, yeah, tick. I'm there, hi!
Do it.
And it was such a lovely day, wasn't it? Because
so much fun.
Annalise was up for us so much fun, and I think Adam was a little bit more reserved, but we
Yes.
got him out of his shell in the end, didn't we? So,
yeah,
and
no, it's good.
they had such a beautiful day, didn't they? It was so lovely.
No, it was really lovely, and I just love that so much. You know, when I'm introducing couples to potential suppliers, you know, in the early part of the process, and they'll come back to me and they'll go, oh yeah, we really like
I
them.
love
But
that.
then the suppliers will come back to me and go, oh my God, it's perfect. You know,
Yes.
we've clicked, and it's like, exactly. And that is what all of the kind of years of research and me doing this like networking, where I get to know everybody, because anybody can do a Google search, you know, and it's so much
That's a
more
good point.
personal than that, you know, and and just going back to that commission question, I'm really passionate about that.
I know you are. Yeah.
It's something that's super important for me. So I could talk about that for a long time. And you know, everyone does things differently, but from my perspective, it's really important that I do have that. You know, I can cast that net across the local area, because local is super important for me as well, and put the right people in front of my clients. And it's not about any backhanders or whatever might come my way. It's always about my clients first.
So in your words, what do you do, and how long have you been involved in weddings?
So I've been involved in weddings for 14 years now, which is
really?
crazy, really
Wow.
crazy. And I think that from my point of view, what I do is I just help. You know, it's really hard to sort of capsulate what exactly I do, because it can kind of be everything and anything. And I have different services that fit different budgets and the different amounts of support that people might want. You know, some people are super happy doing their own planning, but they might hit a troublesome patch and think, oh, actually, how can I get around this? Or how can I make my budget go further? Or, you know, someone just to check the plans over. So, you know, you can sort of have a pocket of planning time just to help get you unstuck. Or, you know, all the way up to the full shebang, or you've planned it yourself, you need somebody on the day to do behind the scenes things. So it really varies, and it can be absolutely anything. Some of the stuff I've done on a wedding day would make your toes curl.
I can well imagine. In the nicest possible way, people, all right?
But we can't sell the bad things, we have to sell the good things.
But,
everything will be fine.
As we said in earlier podcasts, you make a problem not a problem. So it's
100%.
like, yeah, exactly.
Didn't happen.
Never existed.
Never
it's
happened.
Fine. We were talking earlier about how the industry has changed, and obviously since COVID and stuff like that, it's like people book wedding suppliers in different ways. I mean, how have you survived through that, and also how have you managed to stay relevant as well, to keep on top of your game?
I think a lot of what I do is being relevant, so constantly researching, constantly networking, catching up with other wedding planners. I have a big, you know, support network right across the nation, really. So meeting with them regularly to understand what they do and how things are changing, what trends they're noticing. But I am so much led by my clients as well. So it's what they need and what they want. So no two weddings are the same. No two clients are ever the same. Inspiration is only inspiration. You know, you're not ever doing a complete carbon copy of somebody else's wedding.
Of course.
So it is very much led by what they need, really, and their trends and responding to that. So it's, so much has changed, but I think that's still, you know, critical. The common thread through everything that I've done is about, you know, client-led.
Indeed, yeah. And has there been any sort of requests from clients that you're like, oh my goodness, that would test you, but you've gone ahead and you've done it?
Oh, there's been all sorts of different things. I mean, the Harry Potter wedding last year
Harry Potter one was
phenomenal.
Amazing.
But very much out of my comfort zone, because I don't traditionally do themed weddings. So the challenge there was to bring the theme, so it didn't feel cartoony, and it didn't feel cliched, and it didn't feel like a birthday party, but it still had to feel elegant and have touches of it. So it was fun, don't get me wrong, but that was a challenge, because that was out of my comfort zone. But yeah, there's all sorts of crazy things that people might need. You know? We've had to do like fleets of Land Rovers and all sorts of different bits and pieces to solve a problem that you wouldn't necessarily think I need this, when you're kind of originally booking your wedding suppliers going, this has to happen, and this is like, this has now happened, so how do we solve this? And you have to plug that gap somehow. So
indeed. And I love the fact that your knowledge, you've got so much over the 14 years that you've been doing this. You decided to create a book as well, which is phenomenal. The fact that you've got everything and you put it all in one place, so that you can just offer this book to people and go, if you want the help, have a look at the book, and then we can talk further about the stuff that's in there about what you want.
Here's my book.
Oh, you've got the book.
I've got the book. Ta-da!
Planning Your Marquee Wedding
by
Emily
the
Andrew.
ultimate guide.
The ultimate guide, sorry.
It's on Amazon as well if you want a soft copy, but the hardback is on my website. And it's been a real labour of love. I did it over COVID, so in amongst doing, you know, replanning, cancelling, postponing, and all of that shebang that was going on, I did the book, which is a bit crazy. Of course. If you're not busy enough, homeschooling 2 young children as well, and everything else that went with it at that time.
Let's not talk about homeschooling.
No, scarred for life. But I'm really proud of the book, and it is really lovely that it's something that can help. You know, people are planning marquee weddings because, as I said before, you don't know what you don't know. So hopefully it kind of takes couples through from, you know, how to identify a wedding site for your marquee all the way through to what you do afterwards as well. So all sorts of bits and pieces in there to help, hopefully. Amazing,
love that. So what's the main thing that you give your clients that is unique to you? So we're talking about, like, this is the Emily Andrews experience, something that, I mean, yes, there are other wedding suppliers, wedding planners out there, but what is it that makes your clients come back to you and go, actually, you're the person for us?
It's always personal connection.
It's a hard one to answer, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for me. And, you know, there's so, as you say, lots of different planners out there, and everybody has great experience in different areas, for example, but for me, it's me, like, and I say that to them on the calls and consultations when we have them, you know, if you don't like me, that's absolutely fine.
How could they not?
Well, no, but I get it, you know, and it's a really intimate thing, planning a wedding at the level of detail that we have to go into, you know. I mean, I know family politics and, you know, granny and grandma's inside leg measurements by the time we're finished. It's really personal.
You don't need to know that.
No, you don't need to know that. But if you don't get on, it's going to be a hellish year or two, let's face it. So that's, I think for me, it's me.
Awesome. And so it should be. No, that's a good answer. I love that. Okay, reverse it. Your turn to ask me a question.
Right, here we go.
You've got it written down.
I have written it down.
I don't know what this is.
Okay. What is the most unusual thing that you have had to photograph at a wedding?
Oh my goodness. That's a good one.
I'm sure you've done some really wacky things in the past. I'm sure Richard has done something crazy.
Oh, actually, one of my very first weddings back in, after I went freelance, I think it was about 2017, 2018, it was for one of my friends who's like quite high up in the RAF.
Okay.
And we were at, this is going to sound really bizarre, but it's like, he collared me at like about 12:30, considering the ceremony is at 1 o'clock, okay, so 12:30 he collared me and he said, I've just had a call from the squadron leader at BBMF, and we've got a Spitfire flying over at 1 o'clock.
Oh, brilliant.
I was like, you know the ceremony's at 1 o'clock? I said, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So literally the whole congregation, rather than being sat inside waiting for the bride to come down, the bride had to stay in the room. Everybody was outside this amazing hotel, waiting for the Spitfire to come past. And it was like, I love the fact that it was just a phone call. It was like, yeah, we're doing it. It's like, we'll be over at 12:57 precise. And literally, they don't mess around. It's to the second. My goodness. And it's like, where the hell's it coming from? It's like, so it's like trying to capture it. So it's either capturing the Spitfire or capturing the look on people's faces. So that thankfully it did 2 fly pasts. So as I went round and came back around again and went to wherever it went to go. So that was probably one of the most unique times I've had to photograph something. So oh goodness, that put me on the spot.
Sorry.
That's all right. I love it. Okay, back to you. Whew, thank goodness for that. Of all the things that you've bought for your job, and I'm sure there's lots of things that you put your time and efforts and your finances into to make you do what you do, what's the one thing, and your favourite also, that will benefit your couples?
Well, that's a really hard one.
Okay.
For me, a lot of it is knowledge that I gain and that research side of things. So, so
it's not necessarily buying stuff then, it's just investing in you. It's
investing in time and taking the time to, grow my knowledge, improve my service, hone my skills, I suppose. So yeah, that's a hard one.
That's a good answer though. I love that. Investment of time is good. So what type of couples, I think you've sort of answered this briefly earlier, but what type of couples would you say are drawn to you and your style as well?
A lot of my couples tend to be people who are out of area, but they've got some connection with Norfolk or Suffolk, and they want to then really showcase the local area to their friends that are coming. So we tend to have weekend celebrations because people are travelling in. We tend to have, the best seasonal local food that we can find, incredible local suppliers, and really making the most of like the best of Norfolk and Suffolk. So busy professionals, quite discerning couples, know what they want but don't necessarily have the time to do that or how to get the best results. So that's probably a very sweeping generalisation.
But I like what you said earlier, it's like people that live out of the area. Would you say Norfolk is quite desirable for
Definitely,
a wedding?
from a destination perspective, yeah, for sure. I mean, the North Norfolk coast attracts people from all over the world. Just crazy.
Yeah, indeed. Fab. Serious for a second. Dun, dun, dun. Not that serious. What's the one piece of advice that you get asked most often for?
Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
How much is this going to cost me?
That's always the question.
And I think particularly this year, so many people are like, what's this going to cost? Or I've got this amount of budget, what's that going to get me for this budget? So, yeah.
And how do you work with your couples on their budgets? Because obviously at the end of the day, budget does have to be brought up eventually,
100%.
doesn't it? So,
well, it needs to be first, quite frankly.
No, fair enough,
yeah, at the beginning, because you can't put in front of someone suppliers that are going to blow the budget, because that's just pointless. So we have to get the budget right first. And it's just picking through, like generally speaking, putting ideas in front of them and saying, well, is this an uncomfortable figure? Rather than going, well, you just don't know. I mean, what does that sort of a wedding look like? What are you pinning on Pinterest? Are these, crazy $1 million weddings, or is this actually something that if we watered down, you'd be happy with? And, what can you save over this course of time? Reverse it. Like, what could you do if you did it backwards? How much per month could you put away to give you this end pot? So yeah, lots of different ways to kind of work out what that end figure is, I suppose. But
so just being sensible and practical about it, or just look at the easy way to make it do
what you want it to include, because a lot of people will say, oh, I've got a budget of this, but break it down. Does that need to include dresses and suits and rings and honeymoons or accommodation? And everyone has different things that they want the budget to be.
And I've always found as well at various wedding shows that although it can be quite overwhelming, it can also be, you can take the good and the bad out of it, because you get overwhelmed and there's like so many things that you hadn't even thought about that you're like, oh, I need that. It's like, oh my goodness, then your budget is completely blown.
To be fair, as suppliers, we are very good at that. Oh, but you do need this. Do you really?
Do you really? But also the fact that it's like, you can think about, do I really need, like you just said, do I really need that? No, actually, I don't need that, because obviously the budget is going up. So it's like, and then you can whittle down the things that you really do want and that you've got your heart set on, rather than sort of just going absolutely crazy. Which is also an option, of course.
Of course, always an option. Big budgets, always.
Okay, lastly, is there anything that you would change in the wedding industry as such to make it better for not just us as suppliers, but also for everybody, your couples? And
I would banish the myth of the wedding tax.
What's the wedding? Oh, do you know what? I was talking to somebody about this the other day. They said, oh, you put wedding before something.
You put the W word in front and everyone doubles their price, which is baloney.
It is,
but the problem is it's ingrained in people and in the press and people doing their research that, aren't in our circle. I just say the word wedding. So I'm going to plan a party and I'm going to get cost reductions everywhere. But it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. Sadly, but
That's bizarre,
there's a reason for it. It's not a tax. It's not extra inflated costs.
No.
It's a whole different service when you are creating a wedding for somebody versus a party.
Yes, indeed. It's like the communication that you have with your couples, just to make sure that
I mean, you know that. You're talking about doing engagement shoots, aren't you, beforehand, and your consultations and the detail that you will go into, the time planning, the scheduling and all of that.
You've got to get to know them to know what they want.
Exactly. You get a once-in-a-lifetime day, you are going to have to invest more time and energy into it beforehand. So that is what you're paying for. It's not this,
Amazing. Love that, Emily. Thank you very much. So, Emily. Bonus question. Okay, this is the poll. I actually don't know which way you're going to go,
Ooh.
but I hope I know which answer I would like you to say. But
oh gosh, pressure.
Crocs, yes or no?
No.
Oh, yes! Come on!
Much to my children's, yeah, they
have your
are
children-
fully.
so they're in the house, are they?
Yeah.
I got
I'm
bought some for my-
resisting, but they're like, we want Crocs. No!
I got bought some for my birthday and I still have not worn them. I
Really?
vow that I have never worn a pair of Crocs, never bought a shell suit, and also never ridden inside a Ford Capri. They're the 3 things I'm probably proud of. Although
did have a
Capris
shell
are coming
suit
back.
when I was like 9,
Did you
maybe.
really?
When I was 9.
Was
a
it?
long
Did
time
you
ago.
buy it though?
Parents bought it.
So
Does
that's
that count?
that's sort of yeah. All right.
I think I had matching ones with my siblings. Actually, I think we all had. Yeah.
We'll put a picture up later.
I don't think there's one in existence. Thank heaven.
Awesome. On that note, it's time to say our thank yous to the wonderful Emily. Woohoo! Emily, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you as always here on Lovers on the Air. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been brilliant. If you have any questions for Emily, myself, or this wonderful venue, Thurning Hall, then please do pop your questions in the comments. Emily, once again, thank you so much for being fab, as always. And I'm sure we'll see each other very soon.
For sure.
Until then, join us next episode for a chat with the lady of the ass, who's actually not from London, but hails from Norfolk, right here at Thurning Hall. Lara Lacey joins us to give us an insight into this, her beautiful home, and of course, wedding venue. Until then, love you.